Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I can't say welcome back to 3R Guitars because we're not going to be making a guitar. Of all weird things, I'll be making a life-size phone box. So, yeah, I went on the internet and I wanted to actually buy one, but the real ones literally weigh more than a ton, and that they're in the region of, like, for a good one, £5,000 or something, and that doesn't include delivery, and delivery wouldn't be logistically straightforward, shall we say. Then there was this company I knew about called Phonybox, who make and sell replica phone boxes that are all very good. But when I actually looked at them, first thing it said on the specification was not suitable for continuous outdoor use because they're made of softwood, and they obviously rot. After a few years you'd probably need some serious work on them, I guess. So that was a bit disappointing, but they started at about 3,000, probably 3,500 by the time you got it delivered, so still not that cheap really. So I thought, well, how difficult can it be to make a big box? And I started looking at it and I thought, well, it's something I could do. So I actually looked on the internet, and unbelievably the GPO drawings of a phone box are available and on the internet. All but a few details which you can basically guess. So here, for instance, is the drawing of the roof with all the dimensions on it, and here is the drawings of the doors. The only thing I can't seem to find is the actual drawing of the frame on the outside, but there's enough clues as to the sizes of that. So what I've actually done, this looks a bit bleached out on here actually, but I don't know if you can see on here, I've drawn out a scale drawing of a telephone box. Now this particular telephone box is the most common one you see, and it's called a K6 or kiosk 6, and it has, like, the typical bigger square glass in the middle and then the thinner strips on the outside, like the one on Windmill Hill, I think, on the way down to the Jolly Drayman pub. So they're a rare sight nowadays, aren't they? But there's enough drawings and pictures on the internet to come up with like an accurate drawing of it. Now they're about 8'2", 8'4" high, and on these drawings I've got all the scale stuff that I need to be able to make one. So I am going to use wood to make it, but I'm going to use hardwood, and the same sort of wood that you get in for your aluminium windows or something like that. So very durable, and if looked after, it should last a long time. I mean, obviously I'll be painting this red and doing a good job of undercoat and top coat and all that sort of thing, and the thing will be under a tree, so I mean it's not going to be like it's not going to be in the worst of the weather probably, but I think making it out of hardwood is going to be about the best I can do. But that doesn't work out cheap, but I must give Forestry Timber a really good pat on the back, because they beat the quotes by other timber firms by hundreds and hundreds of pounds. If you look over here, I have a whopping great pile of timber, and that's all thanks to Forestry, and thank you very much. It's beautifully prepared, beautifully cut and stuff, and oh look, you can see a Gibson Flying V on the go there as well, so bonus round there. So this is all the timber I'll be using, and it's Sapele, which is a a mahogany. You know, it's not an expensive mahogany, I don't think. No, any wood is expensive nowadays, but it's a good quality hardwood with very good durability. You know, I was actually quoted easily double by other timber merchants, so again, big push for them. Excellent, thank you very much, and very courteously delivered as well, and I can testify that looking at the planks, they're beautifully prepared as well, so that's really nice. So I went down, and once I'd done the drawing here, I measured up all the timber sizes and stuff. All these drawings are in inches, of course, so converted them, got the timber. The problem I've got is, you know, my shed is not really big enough to cope with planing and cutting these bits of timber, so I'll be using standard sizes of timber. I mean, everything is going to be 27mm thick, or 32 plane down to 27. And then, you know, I can't go like planing down a 6+ foot long bit of timber very successfully in here. You'd lose the accuracy. So I have chosen timber. I made this on here. I made this cutting list of timber that I needed, and bought, to keep the price down, actually bought the cheapest, the closest standard sizes. So I bought 15 bits of roughly 2m by 75mm by 25mm, and I ended up with 15 pieces of 27 by 70, because it gets planed down, and 27mm thick. And then I've got 3 bits 150mm by 25, so again that's 27mm thick and about 140 wide by the time they've planed it. And then 6 pieces of 100mm by 25, again 27mm and about 95 or something wide like that. So it's all standard timber, and that keeps the price down. I'm not asking them to specially cut stuff or plain stuff, so I'll be trying to make this as close as I can using those sizes of timber. So anyway, you can basically divide this into 3 bits, this phone box. I think you've got the lid on the top, the sort of Dalek's head, if you like. That's a separate structure. You've got the main frame with the doors in it. That's a separate structure. You've got 3 glass doors on it and 1 panel on the back. And then you've got the plinth it sits on. So I'll be starting on making the plinth, and then that will dictate the exact size of the large box, which I can then make. And then the box on the top, I'm not even thinking about that yet. But yeah, so hope you'll join me for the ride as we get on with making a phone box. And yeah, talk to you as we go. Okay, phone box build day 2. So down here we've got, you know, I want to try and make the phone box like, you know, the same dimensions as the original one. As I said, I had to buy, didn't have to buy, but I bought standard size wood because it's just that much cheaper. So what I'm working on now is down here, like here's a drawing of the phone box I saw yesterday. I'm doing the base of the phone box, the bit that touches the concrete on the floor. And I want it to be the same size, so the actual size was 2'11 3/4, I think. So I've converted that to millimeters, and I've done that as the size of it, sort of thing. Now, obviously, you know, it's not going to be perfect, but the other thing is that the plinth on the bottom is 4.5 inches high, and I've got no wood that's anywhere near that. Well, I've got some that's much too big that I want to keep for elsewhere, and I've got some that's like basically too small. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use, I've got plenty of, I think, 70 millimeter thick by 27 mil thick. So I'm going to have to make two like boxes, if you like, and put one on top of the other to get the width, because I want, like I say, I want to keep it in scale. I don't want it to be, you know, a silly look, you know, a thinner looking base or whatever. So what I've done is just to make the first part of the base, and again, the problems I'm going to get in here, I've only got a small workshop and I can't swing around these bits of wood. So I've got my chop saw, you know, the saw outside, and I've chopped down to length the sides of the base, and the way I'm joining them is with just dowels basically. So I've drilled dowels in. I know, you know, I've got one side that's long, one side that's shorter, so basically I'll be joining it like effectively like that. And thing is, the nice thing is with the chop saw, it chops the edges off dead square. So what I've got to do now is make an exact square box. I don't want the base to be rhombus shaped or anything stupid like that. So it's quite, on the face of it, it seems quite easy, but it's actually quite a tricky job. So I'll get set up and show you what I'm doing. Hi, so what I've done to do these corners is, you can see I've clamped the wood down on this old kitchen worktop that I use for my routing table, so I know this is dead flat, and you can see that I've set it exactly in there to perpendicular 90 degrees, so we've got a square corner. Now the holes that I drilled for the dowels, I did in my drill press, zing zing, in there. So that's you know, they're nice and accurately square sort of thing. So when I've got this here, I can just drill through and mount the and get it, you know, reasonably right. What I think I'll do is just put a clamp on the corner as well here, just to make sure nothing moves around, and then we can drill through. So I'll get you back when I've done that. Well, so here you go. I've drilled all the joints now, nice and easy, just through there like that. So I've numbered them all, so I've got numbered joints 1 to 4 with numbers on both bits of wood, so I know that they go where they go. Also, like I say, it's absolutely vital to make sure everything is square. You don't want to end up with a square that's not square and might be wobbly up and down sort of thing. So having a flat table to do it on is ideal. I know they're not posh joints or anything, but like I say, I haven't got the room to swing. Like, logistically, it's the best I can do, I think. So what I've done here is I've hammered the dowels in all the ends down here and here. Now I want to try and make this box up. So this is number 1. That's the top, because I've written number 1 on it, and this is number 1 there. So this will go on like that, or at least should. Right, here we go. So here's the first part of the base. To check it's square, I'm going to measure across the diagonals. And I wouldn't expect it to be perfect. So that's 1,295 millimeters. 1290, 93, 94, so it's 2mm different across the square. You know, to be honest, I'm not worried about that. But what I think I want to do is actually cut some square bits of wood and screw them in the corners, just to sort of make sure that it's, I think I'm going to do that. But so I decided to put these blocks in the corners, you can see here, and this tool I find absolutely fantastic. And the nice thing is with this is that you know, when you move it, you know, you see the millimeters on there as well, but you can also change it to inches and stuff. So I've got the depth of all these blocks the same, so when I come to drop in the floor, you know, we'll have it consistent sort of thing. You won't have the blocks everywhere. So I'm just like basically, you know, putting the blocks in. So right, okay, I've got the last corner piece in now to stiffen up the corners and a place to the floor can rest on. I'll probably batten between them as well, so the floor has got, I mean, I'll use some inch ply or something for the floor marine ply, so you know, the floor will have a bit more support. So the next thing I've got to do is I've got to make these thickness up now by 45mm to get it to 4.5 inches, the same as a foam box. So I'm using my 100mm wood that planes down to just over 90, so this is perfect to cut down the middle and get a 45mm bit. So I'll show you how I do that. And I'm lucky enough to have a bandsaw to do it, which makes life slightly easier. So here we go. So there, that's a bit easier than a handsaw, isn't it? And now I'll switch you off for a sec till I get set up and show you another luxury device I've got. So here you go, this is the thickness planer, and I've got these 3 bits of wood, 4 bits of wood, basically to plane all down to the same 45mm or thereabouts, and they've all got a cut edge now through going in the bandsaw. So this is perfect because it's a thickness planer, it does it to certain thicknesses. So you get the picture there now. That's cut down to the correct, all of them to the same thickness. So we can get on now and go on. Right, well here you go. Just going to finish off for the day. So I've got these dowels. I've put the top piece of wood on, so it's the right thickness now. And I'd just like to introduce one of my favourite ever saws. Is one of these Japanese saws that cut on the pull stroke, and they're such a thin blade. Just that easy with it, sort of thing. You can just, you know, cut perfectly with the wood, flat with the wood. Just do all the corners here. Well, I'll get on and finish it off, but like, I mean, yeah, it's not like your Chippendale carpentry, is it? But in all fairness, you know, it's going to be, you know, these were cast iron originally, these foam boxes, so I'm not looking for a perfect finish by any stretch of the imagination. I just want it strong and rock proof. And the thing is, I've put this thickening strip on the top, and you might think, well, to hide the dowels, why didn't you put it on the bottom? Well, I don't really want the dowels sitting in any water or anything, so I want, you know, this is clear hardwood at the bottom, so I prefer the dowels at the top and out of the worst of the weather sort of thing. Well, day 2 of the post box build, and here's the base now. I've cleaned up all the edges a little bit, the corners and stuff, but what I'm doing now is I'm going to be putting a radius on this sharp edge. The originals had kind of a curve on the plinth on the base, and I'm doing that with my router with one of these bits in it, but you can easily do it with a plane as well. But yeah, so you have to, because it's such a curve, you have to take a couple of goes at this, but here we are. It's quite a messy job. It throws up sawdust everywhere, but you can see the nice curve it's put on there. I don't like going right out to the ends because sometimes the router cutter will take a big chip off the bit of wood going this way, so I'll do the ends by hand, but that gives a nice end. And this is why I didn't want to screw these bits of wood on, because if I had screws in there at very least I'd risk damaging the router seriously. So yep, let's get one more of these done and that'll be it. Well, here we are. I am working on the base now, and what I'm putting in is just a ledge for some for the floorboards to go across. So I was going to use marine ply, but I can't really get any very quickly, and I honestly think probably treated floorboards will be good, are just as good, so I'm happy with that. I've glued this on here and I just want to screw it through now, but it's quite vital that you know, it's a parallel depth all the way along, because we don't want, yeah, that's absolutely perfect. But this thing is so good, honestly implore you to get one. I mean, look, that says 78 millimeters there. If you press it once on the button, it changes it to 3 inches roughly, and then if you do it again, it'll actually give you like fractions as well, 3 and 5/64, you know. So if you've got a dimension in inches, you can put it in inches, wind it out and think, oh, what's it in millimeters, and then think, oh, okay, 78 mil, and there we go. Bloody brilliant. But this has got to be flat, so I get the floor flat, and I'm not too worried the floor per se being out of line, but you know, the pillars and stanchions that go up from this base will all be resting on that floor. So if the floor isn't level, the whole thing is going to be collywampus sort of thing, or whatever you pronounce it. So let's get these in now. With these thin screws, I'm not bothering with a pilot hole. Anyway, I'll get you back. Okay, here we are. Well, here's the floor in there now, and they are basically they are what do you call them, fence baseboards sort of thing. So they're a good I think they're about 1 inch thick or 3/4 of an inch thick. There is a tiny bit of movement in them, but perfectly adequate, and obviously they treated you know, for rotting. And what I want to do next, let's get you over here now. Yeah, let's get you here. So we've got the basic plan here. Let's get all this shit off it. Hopefully you can see you know, the drawing of the post box here. And what I want to do is, next I've got to make the frame, basically the sort of box frame that the doors go in and the panels on the side. Now I want to make the top bit first. It's almost an identical process of making the base. So it's this square that goes round here. So basically it'll be jointed along there, kind of thing, to the verticals. And the reason why I want to do this is going back to the base here that you can see. So the vertical pillars will stick up from the corners there. Okay, so basically this size inside here is going to be the exact size that we want to go around the top 4 posts of the frame, as it were. So I can now use this as my jig to make an absolutely perfect square around here that will go on the top. And okay then, I've made this box sort of thing just in exactly the same way as I made the base. Now, like I was saying, there's the towers to, or the columns to come up here, so they are going to be exactly the same size as this box, so this should fit snugly in here. Right, so that's exactly the same size as the. It's just got loads of junk on it from the glue on the floor. But that now fits in exactly the same place as the same size as the base, so that will be good. Now that will go on top of the frame. So the next bit to make is going to be the columns. I'm going to have a cup of coffee first though, but so you can see it's coming together well. The main thing is that it's accurate. I know this base is perfectly square because I cut these timbers measured only on one side, and they both fit like a glove in there, sort of thing. So everything is right, which is nice. Well, hi there. Here I am now trying to make one of these stanchions for the main frame of the phone box. So basically, this will be the corner post, and the door will be here, or one of the side panels, or whatever. Now, what I've done is I've got, of the 3 sizes of wood I've got, this has got a 70 mil section and a 95 mil section. So with the boards being 27 mil thick, it's roughly the same both sides. I mean, I'll get a let's see what it actually is. So the timber there is 95 mil, and down here we've got 97 mil. So the posts will look, I'm certainly not going to plane 2 millimeters off this board. They're so accurately supplied that I really don't want to disturb anything. So we're basically going to get square looking corners, which is what you want. So basically this is what I plan to do, is join the boards together like this, and what this will also do is, if there's any twists or warps in the board, they'll tend to straighten out. So I've just test clamped this here now. So I've got these G clamps clamping it all together, and what I'm going to do is glue it, take the clamps off, glue it all, and then clamp it back together again, and then drill through it and put dowels through again. I've changed my mind. I did buy 12mm dowel, but like the slight problem is it's quite a large diameter compared to the wood, so you know, you only really had 6mm each side of the dowel sort of thing, and I just felt that the dowel was maybe going to weaken the wood too much, so I've gone back and I've got 9mm dowel now, so a bit more room for everything. So basically take this loose now and then glue it up, drill through and hammer dowels in it. So well, here we are back at Telephone Box Faking HQ. We've made one of the main stanchions here for the phone box. Obviously got another 3 to make, one for each corner, and yesterday we did the base there as well, and we've got the top. Well, it's not the top, but it runs round the top of these stanchions here, so the corner of that second square fits on here, sort of thing. So what I want to do today is there's some bits that I want to put on it to make it kind of clip together, so when you actually put it together, it's not going to be all like sort of hold this bit, clamp this bit, screw that. So I won't bother explaining it now, but I'll be doing bits that make it a bit more kit-like, a bit more sort of flat pack phone box. So, but first of all, I want to just cut these little bits off with my, and everybody should have one, Japanese saw. So what I want to do now is the same as I did with around the base. When you look at pictures of the phone box, there's a radius on the edge here, so I want to do a radius like I did with the router cutter. Now you could plane this, it would just take longer, but I've got the router cutter. But when I made this, you can see like on the edge I've got like the smaller bit of wood down here and the longer bit here, so I want this to be the front face so you don't see a joint line down it. So basically you know, if I say this, as you look at the phone box, this is the left hand stanchion, the base will be down here, so I'll route the curve in it. Now the thing is, the bottom of this stanchion fits inside the base here, so I don't want the curve on the bottom bit, and I've measured it that I want the curve to start about 55-60mm up, and then I can file the bottom of it to the top of the base. So if I basically mark 50mm up here, then start routing all the way to the top. So I'll get you back when I'm ready to do that. Okay, so I've marked my 60mm on that end. I've got my router with this curved quarter round cutter on it. Now it's a good, when you're doing something long like this, it's good just to have a dry run, move the router cutter all the way up, just to make sure your lead isn't going to catch anywhere and whatnot. And I'm going to have to do this in a few passes, so I'm also going to wear some glasses because last time when I was doing around the edge, wood was spitting everywhere and I certainly don't want to get my eyes attacked by it. So let's give this the first cut. I've got a little bit more to go down, but interestingly, when you the router obviously spins one way, and when I was coming up it was actually dragging itself along, which makes it a bit more difficult to control. But when I'm coming back, the router cutter's pulling away from me, so I felt easier doing it that way, so I'll do it that way. Now I think we can do the final cut. And this router has got, as well as a quick up and down, when you turn this handle, it's got like a micro adjust one. I think we're absolutely perfect there. And obviously when you do the router, when you've got the base halfway on a workpiece like this, you want to avoid tipping it, but the router has got a bearing at the bottom which runs against the wood, so you know you won't damage the wood, you just have to go over it again, sort of thing. The pitfalls of routing. Right, so we've got a very nice curve down there now. You can see it on here how nicely that does it. And the thing is, you'll get you'll get a consistent curve on all your, on all the sides that all these stanchions that I do. So I'm actually going to write on this one now. I'm going to write top up here, which is obvious, and then left, front. So we've got one stanchion complete now. Now the next thing I want to do, like I say, is I want to make this foam box like a sort of a kit. God damn, I'm covered in shit when you're around. I want to make this more like a kit, so there's a few things I want to do which I'll kind of explain now as I do them. In the first instance, let's get I'll switch you off and I'll get started with the things that I want to do, and I'll explain why when I've got them more done. Okay, hi there. This is what I've done now on this corner. I've made a block like this shape, and I'll show you how I made that with the next one, because I was kind of experimenting with this. But now I want to put that on here, and what I've done is I've measured the overhang that I want for that top to clip on, so this isn't too long, kind of thing. In addition, the reason why I wanted to do it like this, with this kind of wedge shaped block, was I actually wanted like a gap in the corner there, so if I run wires up, I've not got to untidily wrap the wires, for the phone lights and the light inside. I don't want to have to drill holes, or you can't get a drill in the corner here anyway, right in the corner sort of thing, so I think it'll just make the finished job that much better. So what I'm going to do now is glue and screw this, and I've also put some drill hasn't gone quite through there. I've also put some countersinks on. I've just drilled a pilot hole for the screw, and then countersunk them so the heads go in, so it doesn't look ugly with the heads sticking out. So what I think I will do as well is, just to make life easier, okay, got a sharp drill now, so I can screw that in there and drill the second one. Okay. Put a bit of the old jollop on it. there we go. So we've got a really solid corner there now, so when we get to put that top on, we're all, you know, we're all good, sort of thing. So what I'll do now is, now I know that that works, I'll show you how I made these blocks, and it's a bit dodgy, and I'll show you why, but there we go. Right, here you go. So I've got my chop saw here, which is none too good a state of repair because the guard's broken off it, and I really get nervous using it, so I want my hands well out of the way. So I've clamped this bit of wood here to hold these bits of wood to do the angle, and I can get the 45-degree angle, clamp it all in place, and then my hands are nowhere near it, absolutely nowhere near it. Now I have to wait till the blade stops. It doesn't quite cut all the way through, but I'll finish that off. Right, so that's how we do that, with a little bit of clean up there. So like I say, I'm not too proud of this saw, but makes you be very careful, and when you play musical instruments you need fingers. So there we go, let's get the others done.